Imagine this, a powerful CEO, standing on the rooftop of her skyscraper empire, tears streaming down her face as she clutches a faded photograph. Below her, the city buzzes with life, oblivious to the miracle that just unfolded. She's about to make a decision that will change everything, something so shocking, it'll leave you breathless. But how did she get here? Stick around, because this story of sacrifice, redemption, and unbreakable bonds will tug at your heartstrings. If it moves you like I know it will, smash that like button right now and subscribe for more incredible true inspired tales that remind us what humanity is all about. Let's dive in. It all started on a stormy night in the heart of New York City. Michael Harper, a 35-year-old single dad, was racing against time. His beat-up truck sputtered through the rain-slicked streets, his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, asleep in the back seat, wrapped in a threadbare blanket. Mike wasn't always like this, scraping by as a freelance mechanic after his wife, Sarah, passed away from cancer 2 years ago. The medical bills had buried him in debt, and now, with Lily's asthma acting up, he couldn't afford her inhalers. That night, he was on his way to a shady side job, fixing a generator for some warehouse gig that paid under the table. Just one more hustle, he muttered to himself, glancing at Lily's peaceful face in the rearview mirror. She was his world, the reason he pushed through the exhaustion. Meanwhile, across town, Elena Voss ruled from her glass tower. At 42, she was the CEO of Voss Tech, a multimillion-dollar tech firm revolutionizing renewable energy. Elena had clawed her way to the top, orphaned young, she built her empire on sheer grit, but success came at a cost. No family, no close friends, just board meetings and empty penthouses. That evening, she was hosting a high-stakes gala on the 50th floor, schmoozing investors in a designer gown that cost more than Mike's annual rent. But as thunder cracked overhead, the power grid failed catastrophically. A freak lightning strike hit a nearby substation, plunging the city into darkness. Elena's building, with its state-of-the-art backup systems, should have been fine. But something went wrong. The emergency generators malfunctioned, trapping hundreds in elevators, including Elena herself, mid-descent from the rooftop lounge. Panic erupted. Phones lit up the dark corridors as guests screamed. Elena, stuck in a stalled elevator with 5 others, felt her composure crack for the first time in years. The air grew thick, and one passenger, an elderly investor, clutched his chest, gasping. "We're going to die here," someone whimpered. Elena pounded on the doors, her mind racing. She had everything, power, wealth, but in that moment, she was helpless. Back on the streets, Mike's truck hydroplaned as he navigated the blackout. Sirens wailed in the distance. His phone buzzed with an alert, widespread power outage, buildings evacuated. But then, a desperate call from his contact at the warehouse, "The job's off, but hey, Voss Tech's generators are down. They're offering triple pay to anyone who can fix them fast." Mike hesitated. Voss Tech was miles away, through chaos, and Lily was with him. But triple pay? That could cover her meds, maybe even a doctor's visit. "Daddy, where are we going?" Lily stirred, rubbing her eyes. "Just a quick stop, sweetie. Promise." He turned the truck around, heart pounding. Arriving at the towering building, Mike flashed his mechanic's ID to the frantic security team. "I can fix generators," he said simply. They ushered him in without question. The place was a madhouse. Flashlights bobbed as people streamed out, but the real crisis was the trapped elevators. Mike descended to the basement, where the massive generators hummed erratically, sparks flying from overloaded circuits. Water from a burst pipe flooded the floor, creating a deadly electrocution risk. This is insane, Mike thought, but he dove in, tools in hand, ignoring the danger. Up above, Elena's elevator creaked ominously. The emergency phone was dead. The elderly man slumped, his breathing shallow, a heart attack brewing. Elena, drawing on her leadership, tried to calm everyone. "Help is coming," she lied, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. But time was running out, the cables strained under the weight. In the basement, Mike worked feverishly. He isolated the fault, a fried relay switch compounded by the flood. To fix it, he'd have to reroute power manually, wading into knee-deep water with live wires dangling. One wrong move, and he'd be fried. But he thought of Lily, waiting in the truck with a coloring book and his last granola bar. For her, he whispered. He shut off the main breaker, plunged into the water, and began splicing cables by flashlight. A spark singed his arm, pain shooting through him, but he pressed on. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, with a triumphant hum, the generators roared back to life. Lights flickered on citywide, no, just in the building, but it was enough. Elevators jolted into motion, doors prying open to cheers. Elena stumbled out, gasping fresh air, as paramedics rushed the elderly man away. Who fixed it? She demanded, her team scrambling for answers. Some mechanic, ma'am. He risked everything down there, the flood was lethal. Elena's eyes widened. She had to thank him. But by the time she reached the basement, Mike was gone. Vanished without a trace, leaving only a soaked toolbox behind. The next day, headlines blared, mystery hero saves hundreds in blackout nightmare. Elena, bandaged for minor cuts, stared at the security footage. There he was, a rugged man with kind eyes, working like his life depended on it. But no name, no contact. Find him, she ordered her assistants. I owe him everything. Vosteka's PR team spun it into a feel-good story, but Elena felt a deeper pull. For the first time, someone had saved her without expecting a dime. It cracked her armored heart. Mike, meanwhile, had fled the scene. The pay? He never collected it, too risky with his undocumented side gigs and a warrant for unpaid debts. He bandaged his burn at home, a dingy apartment in Queens, where Lily greeted him with a hug. Did you save the day, Daddy? She asked innocently. He smiled weakly. Something like that. But the pain worsened, infection set in. Days blurred into feverish nights. Bills piled up, and Lily's cough returned. Mike knew he couldn't afford a hospital. We'll manage, he told her, but doubt crept in. Elena's search intensified. She hired private investigators, scoured social media, even offered a reward. Weeks passed with no leads. The story faded from the news, but not from her mind. One sleepless night, poring over footage, she noticed a detail, a child's drawing peeking from his pocket, a stick-figure family under a rainbow. It humanized him, made him real. Who are you? She whispered. Driven by gratitude, and perhaps loneliness, she dug deeper, tracing truck plates from blurry cams. Finally, a hit, Michael Harper, single father, address in Queens. She showed up unannounced, her sleek limo out of place in the rundown neighborhood. Knocking on the door, she heard coughing inside. Lily opened it, wide-eyed. Are you a princess? The girl asked. Elena smiled softly. No, sweetie. Is your dad home? Mike, pale and bedridden, stared in shock as she entered. You're the CEO. His voice was weak. What happened next shocked everyone, even Elena herself. She didn't just thank him, she transformed his life. Learning of his struggles, Sarah's death, the debts, Lily's health, she paid off his medical bills anonymously at first, then offered him a job at Vostek as head mechanic, with full benefits. But that wasn't the shocking part. Touched by Lily's innocence and Mike's quiet strength, Elena opened her heart. She started visiting, bringing toys for Lily, home-cooked meals, a rarity for her. Mike resisted at first, I don't need charity, but her persistence wore him down. You saved me, she said one evening, as they watched Lily play. Let me save you. The real shock came when Elena, the untouchable CEO, proposed a radical change. She stepped down from her role, using her fortune to fund a foundation for single parents facing medical crises. Inspired by a hero who vanished, she announced at a press conference, with Mike and Lily by her side. The world gasped, Elena Voss, giving up power? But it was true. She and Mike grew close, their bond forged in vulnerability. Not romance at first, but a deep friendship that blossomed into love. They married a year later, in a simple ceremony, with Lily as flower girl. Challenges abounded. Mike battled guilt over accepting help, fearing he'd lose his independence. Elena faced backlash from shareholders, accusing her of going soft. Lily's asthma flared during the transition, testing their resolve. But they resolved each hurdle together, therapy for Mike's grief, Elena learning humility through volunteer work, and advanced treatments for Lily. Their story went viral, inspiring millions. In the end, standing on that same rooftop, now a garden they built together, Elena looked at Mike and Lily, the photo from his pocket now framed. "You risked everything for a stranger," she said. "And vanished. But I found you, and we built something better."